today I know it is freezing cold in so many places right now. It is so cold, and I'm just like wanting to say thank you so much for coming, even though it is so cold. Um, and it's just yeah. I know that I've seen people in Kansas City be and Western Kansas be like just so chilly and that your hands are so cold and everything. So you're amazing for being here. I'm going to share something really quick for a few minutes, and then we're going to dive in and hear from Whitney Krager, the one and only, you guys. She's got some insane things happening right now in her business, so I'm super excited. So the other night we did a power hour with Crystal Birchfield, and if you were not there, basically the function or the way that it worked was, hold on, it thinks that Dara is talking. I don't know why. I'm going to spotlight my own video. Okay. I don't know. Sorry, Dara. I don't know why I did that. You're probably like, what's happening? So the other night we did power hour with Crystal Birchfield, and basically the structure was where we got on Zoom, we all muted ourselves, and then Crystal said, hey, for 3 minutes, we're going to do this. For 5 minutes, we're going to do this. When her timer went off, we switched activities, and the host of the power hour determined what activities. And what happened on that call? Two things. One, I got so many text messages after that call of people saying that was awesome. That was more productive in 1 hour than I've been in a long time. I didn't know what to do. So then when we got on the call and someone told me what to do, it just took out so much stress so that I just knew immediately what to do. And there was just this overall lightheartedness about it that I was like, something good about that. The second thing that happened during that call, this is the part that I want to start with a story. You know how everyone is overwhelmed right now in life? Like in everyone has a full plate right now. I just see so many people with full plates. And when people get overwhelmed, what happens is we look at our plate and we go, what can we get rid of? And oftentimes, things that are necessities stay on the plate, and everything that's not a necessity gets pushed off because people are overwhelmed and hunkered down. And what I've seen happen in the past, specifically with burnout, as we call it, is when people get overwhelmed, they look at their plate and they see Young Living and they know they need it. And they know they need the oils and they know they need the products. Of course, that's there. But it's like the business sometimes feels like this extra thing. If they don't have space for it, it can feel really overwhelming. And so sadly, it's like one of the first things to go, I feel like, even though we know that's kind of what we need. And so what happened on the call was I looked down and I saw that there were 42 people on the call. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. 42 people. I'm always interested in how many people are in the call. And I was like, that's kind of ironic. If all those people are in my team, that's 42 hours that just got deposited into my team, right? Into my business, 42 hours. Now, for some people, maybe they had 1 or 2 people from their team on. So that was like 2 hours of work deposited into their business. If it was just one person that showed up and they didn't have anyone in their downline, it was 1 hour of good, solid work put into their business that week. And I had an epiphany that was like, the reason why this business isn't structured in a 9 to 5 way is because this business works differently than other businesses. You actually can build your own sales force and you can, I hope this is making sense. You can put in a 40-hour work week in 1 hour if you're strategic about it. And I thought, what better time than now to get strategic about it and help people have a 1 hour work week. Maybe it's more because, you know, some people are going to put in more just because it's who they are. They want to do more. But some people need to come to the call and realize I just put in an hour, and they need to feel that feeling of that was enough. That was not only enough, but I have confidence that I did the right things. So it solves these two major aching issues that are, am I doing enough and am I doing the right thing with doing power hour? So I'm super excited. We're going to start doing that weekly Wednesday nights at 8 Central, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, 6 Pacific on this Zoom room. And here's how it's going to go. The first time we're going to all get on, and I'm going to call out in every single person. I'm going to ask for them to chat in a win. So even if you're like, my win is I'm on this call, or I woke up today, then you get to chat in. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi. Okay, you want to go Pops? Okay, here's Pops. Ready?
Come on, Bruce.
chat in your win and share something that really was awesome that you are so proud of yourself. Even if it's just you got up this morning, but we're going to like say everyone has to chat in. After that, we're going to utilize the breakout rooms. So silver leaders and above can decide to have their own breakout room where their team, so it's like you and your teammates from that silver team, go into the breakout room, and all the silvers will have been given a document that is my suggested work time. Now, here's the fun thing. Here's where it gets creative, right? Because you and your team might have an event that might be different than something that I would put on that doc. So you and your team could modify each little activity as it pertains to your team. I'm super excited about it because number one, I hope that it's incredibly incentivizing for silver, the rank of silver, to be clapped for, and that leadership position to be affirmed. And at the same time, it keeps us all working together so that our hours can be counted. A question that I have gotten as I've been sharing this is, well, Bethany, I don't have anyone in my team. It's just me. That's no problem. That's awesome. You come, if you want to, come at that time, put in 1 hour. You then have that satisfaction of, I just put in an hour. So at the very end of the call, we're all going to come out of the breakout rooms and back to the main room. And then I'm going to ask everyone just on their own sheet of paper, just for them and their paper, write down how many people from your team was on this call. And if you write the number 1, I want you to give yourself a big hug and a pat on the back and be like, you showed up today. You did awesome. You put in the work. You know what you're going through right now. And you know how hard it was. So you celebrate. If it's 2, you just put in 2 hours in 1. You are duplicating. If you put in 40 hours, congratulations. So getting that mindset and actually celebrating a duplication in a way that we haven't yet before. So I'm really excited about it. And when I was sharing this idea with Brandon, my coach, I was like, I'm so excited, Brandon, this is going to solve all our problems. Like this is, and I was being all excited about it. He said, okay, cool, Bethany. I love that. The strategy is amazing. The strategy, you're going to give people a strategy on how to be successful. You know what to do. You're going to give them the actions. It's going to be 1 hour. We're all going to be doing it together. It'll be actions. That'll be easy. Follow alongable, everybody can do it. But he's like, I want you to remember that the strategy isn't the problem. And I was like, what do you mean strategy isn't? What do you mean strategy? And he said, there are 3 things that you have to master if you're going to have a breakthrough in your life and your business. The strategy is one of them. Yes, that's huge, but that's not all. And he reminded me of a story that I had told him. I'm going to use the name Jane. I had an experience with a woman named Jane, and Jane wanted to lose weight. Jane has been overweight her whole life, and Jane is just tired of it. So she found this strategy, and guess what happened? It worked. She lost 65 pounds. And me and Jane were sitting out on the porch. We're so excited because, oh my gosh, you just did this thing. And Jane said, I got on the scale, and you know what I thought? I said, what? I'm so proud of myself. She said, no, I told myself I'm never going to keep it off. That was the story she was telling herself about weight loss and weight. So what does the strategy matter if the story is off? So I'm telling you this because I don't want to just be like, okay, everybody, we're going to do this hype thing and like rah, rah, and we're all going to do it. And yes, all of that feels right. But I feel like I would be not honest in leadership if I didn't take us back to the beginning, which is the state. How do we believe about ourselves? What do we believe about ourselves? What's our story? What's our story about ourselves? What's our story about Young Living? What's our story about how people see us? What's our story about all of that? And then after that is state. The state is how I can show up in this interaction based upon the story I'm telling myself. Inevitably, the state that we come to every interaction with is just kind of about our story. Now, sometimes people can get their state in line for a moment of time before their story is in line. Let me tell you an example of that. It's when someone goes to an event and they come back and their hands are pumping in the air and they're like, yes, I'm changed. I've got this. And then it's like, well, but actually, right? In 2 months, they're back to the belief. So it starts with that story, the belief, the identity. Then it goes into the state, the way I occur to everyone around me. Then comes the strategy. And the reason I'm so excited about this is I feel like the things we have going for us right now, with the huddle call being about the state, it gets us in the, or I'm sorry, the huddle call being the story. Oh man, the huddle call being the story, it's the personal development. That's why we work so hard every weekday morning for almost 2 years now, every single weekday morning, to have those little changes where we can change our story. Then here at skills training, we change our state, how people occur to us and how we occur to people. We learn those things. And then now this on Wednesday night is going to be that last piece, which is the strategy. So last thing before I hand the microphone over to Whitney, back in the beginning of my business, and I don't think that many, there are only a handful of people who were there at the beginning. And that, by the way, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Your team will change and morph over time. It's the way it goes. I used to do everything on a energetic basis, meaning, oh my gosh, it's time to have a one-on-one class. Okay. And then, oh my gosh, we need to have an ER class. I'm going to do that Thursday. Pop up. We're going to do Thursday. Everyone invite everyone. Blah, blah, blah. As the team got bigger, that was disrespectful of me to do that, because so-and-so would have a class Thursday and then I'd be like, I'm going to do a class Thursday. And then accidentally I'm competing with my own team. You can see how that would go. So that's why we started to do a few things in cyclical time, in repetitive time. This probably doesn't matter as much to you, except for the fact that I want to clearly explain this will be a cyclical thing. It's not a let's create some momentum and energy and strategy. So I'm going to come up with something called the easy as pumpkin pie November. I'm not going to do the reindeer in December. This replaces that. So if you felt that there was maybe the energy around that was hype, that's how I know when it's time to move into a cyclical thing. And that's why I'm making this decision. So my commitment is to do this for an what's the word? I'm not going to say how many times.
Indeterminate.
Yeah. Wait, what is it?
Indeterminate amount of time.
Yeah, thank you. Indefinite amount of time, with the right to modify and change it as needed and what suits the team. So with that, thank you so much. I'm going to hand it over to Whitney. Whitney is a gold leader.
Hello.
I'm going to introduce you. She's a gold leader with Young Living. She is a mom of 3 little kids. She is purpose driven. She is really someone who, when you hear her speak, you hear just so much passion and fire, and she's having a ton of momentum in her business right now. So Whitney, thank you for bringing this here tonight.
Well, thanks for the intro. I have the youngest of my 3 who just passed out on my shoulder, which is a good thing. So, and Daddy is doing bedtime, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Whitney Krieger. I am a gold leader in this team. And yeah, Bethany talks about momentum. I call it convergence, because it's like where all of the hard work that you've put in for so long comes together with the perfect opportunity and the perfect timing. And it's kind of like just when it all converges, and it's really fun to see. So I'm just excited for new builders cropping up in my team in Platinum Leg and new ideas flowing. I have phenomenal leaders and am a part of this community, which I absolutely love and am just honored to be a part of. I know in anytime we have a crossline leader come in for Bethany, or I've been to convention multiple times, and Bethany is adored by the Young Living community. And so we are so honored to have her. But I wanted to just kind of go along with the talk of Power Hour and why we need to shift, because success requires changing. It requires adapting. It requires, I know we've heard the word pivot more times than we care to this year, but we literally have had to pivot. Like, think of the school systems and how much they have had to change to make sure that their kids are well educated. And colleges, I literally ache to think about the kids that are in college right now losing the experience that I got to have. Like, there's aspects of seniors in high school that don't know if they're going to get to play their last game. Like there's a lot of people having to pivot. There's colleges that are literally having to transform how they're doing everything because they don't know how to give scholarships if they don't have a season, and do they let them come back longer, and do you do on campus, and do you allow international? Like that's just one example of people having to pivot. And I think within this business, there's one thing about Young Living that I love. I'm an Enneagram 3, and I don't like to be told. I'm also the youngest child, so I don't like to be told what to do. I'm pretty stubborn. I love the freedom that this business allows. I love that no one is telling me what to do. They're not. That, I mean, I can do this however. Yeah, I have words I can't say publicly because the FDA, and yes, I have to order 100 PV, and it's better to structure a certain way, but you don't have to. Like, you can literally do whatever. You can grow completely online. You can grow in person. You can teach classes. I've probably taught a couple hundred classes. I have the gift of teaching. I love teaching. I have a storefront called The Classroom where we have classes. Like, that is my jam. I know Lindsay Tig Moreno, who you probably don't even know anymore because she's like retired herself from this business. Her claim to fame is she's never taught a single class. People in her team did. Let me tell you, her team was built based on people teaching classes. So I'm not telling you not to do that, but you can do whatever you want, but you have to do it. You have to do something to do this. And I do know that there are other businesses out there. There's other network marketing companies out there that are so structured and so strategic that like you just get thrown into the pipeline and you just need to do these things. You need to do this many of them and this many times a month, and then this is how much. And there's, yes, a guide. So sometimes people can excel early, but then it takes away the freedom of getting to do it how you want to do it and getting to shift with the times. So I see Gina on here. I remember when Gina started and she made the cutest little graphics, and then she pivoted and did live videos all the time. And then she pivoted and does reels. Like I watch your reels, Gina, and I'm like, I don't even know how to do this. Like I try. And so I just push the live button still. And I'm like, I don't know if this is relevant. I have a side part and wear skinny jeans. So I have not pivoted in that manner. But people pivot, and success leaves clues. So what is successful now may not be successful a month from now, may not be successful a year from now. The people who got started with Young Living before the FDA told them that they couldn't say anything, 2014, that changed. So many businesses fell apart, which is heartbreaking because those people had the story that they could not succeed if somebody told them they couldn't say exactly what they wanted to say. So success means looking at the people who are doing well. That's one thing that I have always loved doing, is I will see who is at the next level. When I hit gold, I was like, I don't know how to hit platinum. Like, that's a big leap up there. And it felt like a long time to get there. And so I messaged 4 platinums, one of them being Sonia Thompson. And I said, what is the biggest thing that you did to get from gold to platinum? What's your strategy? What, changed? What really do you feel like excelled for you? And then I figured out what resonated with me, because not everything does resonate with you. I don't even know how many people on this call, and you might really gravitate toward what Bethany has to say, and maybe you don't. And that's okay. And maybe you really gravitate towards Sonia. I feel like when Sonia speaks, it's like she's speaking a song. Like, she just has so much beauty in what she says all the time. And if I tried to emulate that, like, it's laughable. Like, the amount of empathy she feels in a day is like the equivalent I felt in the last decade. Like, that's just not who I am. So I want to stay who I am and not change who I am, but maybe change the strategy within that. I've mentioned her several times. Andrea Keim is platinum. I saw tagged on Madison Binding's page one day, randomly came across her. Like, most of us probably follow her. She's hilarious. Her daughter, Soph, is like the funniest child I think I've ever seen in my entire life. But she spent a whole afternoon voice messaging me. I mean nothing to her. I don't earn her a dime. And she was willing to tell me what her strategy was for her own life, because she's like, I've got 3 kids, 3 and under. I have no help outside the home. My husband works all the time. She was like, I've never sent a welcome kit. I've never had my own Facebook group. I've never done like a giveaway. Like she was just like, I keep it bare bones, but what she does well is what I also do well with is she connects with people, she responds to all the messages, and she tells her story over and over and over again, and then she connects her people again. And that to me was like, oh, I can do that. And so that's what I started doing because it resonated with me, because I knew I needed to pivot a little bit for the growth I needed for my team. And it's been working because the way she steps in, and she said she's almost bragging about the business. She's bold about it. The woman makes $15,000 a month with 3 kids under 3 at home, where like her daughter flushes things down the toilet and she's ringing in the cash. Like, how many people can say that, you know? And so figuring out who is successful and how can I follow their path. Now, there's some people who do it in a way that I couldn't do it. It's not interesting to me. It's not the way I desire to, and that's perfectly fine. The people who have made it to Royal Crown Diamond, I guarantee there's like 50 of them or something. All their paths look different, but they headed toward the same destination. And within those paths, they led other people on different paths, and they still got to go to that end goal. So look at who's doing it well, ask them questions, and figure out what you can change to fit you, because it has to work for you or it's not going to work. It's like trying to put on somebody else's clothes, and they might kind of fit, but they're not going to be the most comfortable, and it's not going to feel like you, and you're not going to show up in confidence. So you need to make sure that it is something that becomes you and that you can do for yourself and your team. It made me think of the company Apple. If they had only let the iPod be their claim to fame, they would have become completely irrelevant when smartphones came about. But they were ahead of the curve, and they saw what was coming next. And they made the iPhone, and then they've changed the iPhone. Oh, wow, everyone's doing video. Let's make our camera better. Oh, wow, everyone is streaming everything because they're all at home, and they have 6 kids on devices that have to tune in at different times. Maybe we could adjust to that too. So using what's happening around you to pivot is so important. I opened a storefront February 1st, 2020. I closed my storefront April 1st, 2020. But really, I did have to shut the doors for like a month and a half. And I could have just wallowed in that. Like, my store is called The Classroom. I can't have classes. I couldn't have classes for like 2.5 months. But you know what people needed in my area? We don't have DoorDash. Like, no one delivers food here. We don't even have a pickup at a store. Yes, we live in the middle of nowhere. So if you have any of those conveniences, order Chinese for me tonight, please. But what I could do was I had to get out of my house because I know myself, I needed to see humans and I needed to not kill my children. So I made my food and drink vendors available to the 10 surrounding communities. And guess what? We quadrupled sales that month. And I served 10 communities who couldn't even get out of their house, and dropped baked goods and juice and freezer meals on their doorstep and put a lot of miles on my car. But I survived hard months because I was still getting out. People survived around because I was meeting a need, and I pivoted and shifted. And then we quit doing that, and sales went back down again, but that's okay. Somebody's making bank on masks right now. They pivoted and changed and whatever. So you have to know your environment and know what's happening. So I want to caution you. One thing is, it's good to compare sometimes. It is good to see who is doing well. It is good to look at how they're doing it. Yeah, social media is an easy way to see it because it's right there in front of your face, especially Instagram. But don't always chase the bunny. Don't always be looking at the next thing you should be doing. I truly think I needed to grow as a human to go from silver to gold. I knew that. I think sometimes if we put too big of a structure on a shaky foundation, it could crumble. So there's something to be said for growing up your foundation and strengthening who you are and your skills that you need to then build, the tower on top. But where was I going with that? But anyways, yeah, you do need to see what other people are doing. But I would just chase the next thing and be like, oh, I should have done that. Oh, I should try that. Oh, I should try that. I should try that. I should try that. And if you're constantly trying different things, you're never seeing what works. And if you've never heard this before, in network marketing, there's a 90-day turnaround. So there is a historical 90 days to see what actually pays off. And if you don't give yourself 90 days to see, what I was doing was successful, but I had changed it by the time I saw it paid off. And I didn't know enough at the time to realize that what was happening over here that seemed like I wasn't really doing anything, wow, look at all this coming, was actually because I did it 90 days ago. And suddenly it's paying off, but I wasn't patient enough to stick it out to know that that was paying off. And by that time, it's too late to reverse. So giving yourself enough time to not just chase the bunny, it's okay to tweak. I really believe that doing a SWOT analysis, SWOB analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and struggles, whatever, looking at what you've done well, analyzing success, all those are very important. Just give yourself time. And it might feel like you're wasting time because you don't see the payoff right away. That's the one negative thing, in my opinion, about network marketing is you don't get paid today for work you did today. But I'm going to get paid on this work day in and day out and month in and year out. So that's the difference between hourly is, yes, that 9-to-5 worker is going to go, they're going to know exactly what to do because they have somebody looking over their shoulder, and they're going to go home and they're going to have a paycheck for it. However, if you do this well, you figure it out, you run in your lane to succeed in this business using that story and the amazing products that we have, then you're going to get paid over and over and over and over again for work that you do. So use discernment in your comparison. Only seek ideas if you need them. If your to-do list is full, quit looking for more opportunity. I do this all the time. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Like, I don't have time to do the crap I have on my list. Like, I need to quit looking for something else to do. Don't shift too rapidly. Make sure that you can tell if there is going to be a distinct difference. And otherwise you won't know what worked. And then gauge your emotions and trust your gut too. If something feels right and you know that it's time, trust that. And no, it's not going to be for everybody all the time, but they get to build their own business. If they don't resonate with that, great. They can branch off and do their own thing whenever it's their time to. I want you to leave you with an image. Plants will only grow to the capacity of the pot. And when that plant is repotted, it's going to feel real small. And it's going to feel like, how am I ever going to measure up to this pot that I was just put in? But day after day, it's going to have the room to flourish, because otherwise that other pot might have felt nice and lovely and wonderful at the time, might have been the 9-to-5, might have been what you're comfortable with, what you were expected to do, but you can't grow into a giant tree if you're kept in that little pot. So expand your capacity, which expands who you are. And I've heard it said before that a seed doesn't have a tree, a seed has a forest. Because when that seed sprouts, it makes a tree that has other seeds that then allows other trees to flourish in themselves. So don't stay in that pot, because you are keeping a forest from growing. And that's what's important. So I'm grateful to be a part of this team, because I feel like Bethany just scatters our seeds out in like the rainforest. She's like, flourish, all you people. So I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I'm grateful to get to do this with you. So that's all I have.
Oh, that's all you have? Are you kidding me? That was like $1 million training. Oh my gosh. Okay, Whitney, thank you so much. I saw someone had a question. Do you want to ask that to Whitney real quick?
What question? I didn't see. Sorry.
It was a raised hand, and I don't know if maybe it was a raised hand on a praise hands, or if it was like a raised hand, like I have a question. But since we had 2 minutes, I just thought. Okay, Whitney, I'll ask you one question to finish it up. What is one practical thing you think anyone on this call could do to increase their capacity in the next 3 days?
Think of the one thing you feel is holding you back, and find a training or something to read or something to watch, podcast, whatever, and start to study it and then implement it.
I love it. So when you say
What
something
do you
holding
think
you
that-
back,
Yeah,
sorry.
like what, like, oh, I wish I could teach better. Oh, I wish I could, like me, I wish I could do reels. Well, I could watch a million videos on that. Like, if I know it's bringing thousands of followers, like, get over yourself and learn how to do a reel.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Whitney. You guys, amazing. I'll be making a little quick reel, speaking of promoting Power Hour, and I'll be making that tomorrow, and I'll be sharing it on the OQ brand partner Instagram. So if you want to send it to your team, anyone who's ever been interested in the business, this would be a great way for them to just kind of jump in. They don't have to know the comp plan.
Bethany must have gotten kicked off. Her internet has been real shady. So it does look like 8 o'clock. So join us back at 8:15 for Essential Oils 101. And hopefully somebody will be there to teach it with all the storm, freezing, power outages, energy saving goodness. So see y'all later.